How do you measure progress when it comes to fighting global warming? Scientists and policymakers had set a goal to prevent the Earth from increasing its temperature by 1.5 degrees Celsius. And we have failed at that. We're at 1.5 degrees already, and temperatures are still rising.
But that's the wrong way to measure progress. The right way to measure progress is to look at the track the world was on 15 years ago, 20 years ago.
David Victor is a professor of innovation and public policy at UC San Diego. He says back then the world was on track to increase temperatures this century by 4 to 5 degrees Celsius.
Now the world is on track for about 2.5 degrees Celsius of warming. So that's still a lot of climate change. We got to get ready for that, prepare for it. That's something that's important for California, for local communities. But it's not 5, and that's the real measure of progress.
The progress of decarbonization is seen the most worldwide in the generation of electricity. In some places, that means an increasing use of solar and wind power. In the United Arab Emirates, which will host the UN Climate Change Conference at the end of this month, it meant investing in nuclear power. If emissions are still growing, when can we expect them to peak?
That might happen over the course of the next 5 or 10 years. A lot of that depends on what happens in China. The Chinese emissions are larger than any other country.
Advances in technology have been at the center of progress, and one way to reduce global warming that'll be discussed at the UCSD Forum is called solar geoengineering. UCSD professor Kate Rickey says this means finding ways to reflect sunlight so the sun rays and their heat do not reach the Earth.
The main way people are talking about doing this is by putting aerosols, so very small reflective particles, into the stratosphere.
This has happened in natural ways when the volcano Mount Pinatubo erupted in the Philippines and blasted volcanic ash into the air. After that, global temperatures fell. Artificially putting reflective particles into our atmosphere is possible but risky, and Ricky points out there is no global jurisdiction that could regulate it. But Victor says that doesn't mean state and national governments can't move forward on their own.
Small groups of pioneers, of firms, of governments, places like California, can go off and do their own thing and move quickly, show what's feasible, what's not feasible, and by doing that leadership, you make it possible to have followership, have more places that emulate that, and that's how these new ideas, new technologies are going to spread, and that's how we're actually fixing the climate.
The forum takes place this evening in the Great Hall at UCSD. Thomas Fudge, KPBS News.